The newest 2.1 update has a few important things that need to be addressed when it comes to wishing, and these are the 5 considerations you don't want to miss out on. After 9 months since Zhongli's first appearance, Genshin's finally getting a third Archon, and it's safe to see the hype surrounding her is only going up, but there are a few things worth considering, whether you are set on obtaining her or still not sure, if you're ready to let go of your Primo Gems, if any. Now, what's been pretty much confirmed during live streams on both the global and Chinese side is that Raiden Shogun is going to be a quick swap support damage dealer, well, at least at 0 constellations, and what this means is that her elemental skill works similarly to Xingqiu's or Beto's burst, and anytime anyone from the team attacks, the skill also unleashes Electro Slash, and the burst damage of the active character increases, which is all fine and dandy when looking from a support role perspective, but this alone doesn't really make her into a quick swap character, because it's her actual burst that will do all the heavy lifting for the team. And to put it simply, she's going to deal initial burst damage and then go into her sword mode, which will then infuse all of her attacks with Electro and even provide resistance to interruption, so it's very similar to how Child functions, except it's your burst that makes it change weapon types and most likely account for the majority of damage she's going to be able to produce. But it's also important to remember, we still don't have the official damage multipliers available, since those only come right after the character gets released, and it makes you question just how viable her burst mode is going to be, since the subject of Electro and its problematic nature has been around for a while now, and the way MiHoYo was kind of able to manage this issue without addressing it was by simply ramping up the raw power of some Electro characters, which you can easily observe when watching Fischl or Beto's damage rotation. It's not the reactions that benefit them, although sometimes they do account for a good amount in cases like Electro Charge teams, and instead it's the raw damage numbers that pop off due to high damage multipliers they have on their talents, which can even get further boosted through constellations. And this whole idea of giving more power than usual to some Electro characters was addressed during the global livestream, where one of the voice actors mentioned a specific Raiden's passive talent that will provide her with additional burst damage and better energy restoration for her teammates when she goes over the base 100% energy recharge. So it's not your typical quick swap damage dealer that relies on good old critical rate and damage, although she will definitely need those for optimal performance. Not to mention it's more than likely her best in slot artifact set is going to be Emblem of Severed Fate, depending on how good that passive talent is. Still, it's kind of hard to talk about her potential when she's got some of the most insane visual effects in the entire game, and while the numbers are not up yet, mechanically speaking, as long as the elemental skill can provide decent amount of energy particles and apply Electro consistently, she's probably going to end up as a staple quick swap damage and support for physical cryo teams, which at the moment it's Eula doing the dancing, although maybe she'll also enable physical Kaya and Rosaria to shine as well. Otherwise, the sky's the limit when it comes to team comps, and if she's one of those insane flexible supports like Zhongli, Bennett or Xingqiu, then she's definitely going to be a game changer for many players out there. It seems to be Kujou Sara's design is going to be quite beneficial for the team. No, seriously, she's literally the embodiment of these two characters. Not only does she have Electro Bow, but her main usage is going to be boosting team's attack, which is exactly what our Benny Boy is known for, although it's not his only selling point. Still, it's no secret Electro reactions aren't in a good place right now, so while getting that team damage boost is great, it also makes you question just how much raw power MiHoYo is going to give Sara, especially considering the setup for the attack boost actually involves a few steps. Now, unlike Bennett, in order to get the attack boost, you need to activate her elemental skill, which puts her into the Crow Feather mode, and as one of the hosts described during the livestream, the commander needs to shoot out a charge shot, and one of the teammates need to be nearby it in order to receive the attack buff, which, in all honesty, sounds a bit too much work, unless of course the attack boost is going to be very rewarding. Now, luckily, it was mentioned in the livestream that her burst actually will increase the attack the same way as she would with Crow Feather charge shot, so the rotation is probably going to be similar to Bennett's. Just quickly swap to her and then activate the attack boost, which means she actually will have 2 opportunities to boost team's damage, and on paper this sounds pretty amazing. Most importantly, when she hits the enemy with her elemental skill, the team's energy will get restored based on her own energy recharge. So basically, not only is she able to boost attack, but you also fast track your team's bursts as well. And besides the worn out reminder about damage multipliers, the only other concern about her is that she might be a little selfish when it comes to equipment, especially if you're going to unlock her together with Raiden Shogun, since both their passives scale off energy recharge, so it's possible Emblem of Severed Fate artifact set is going to be best in slot for both of them, and that means living for a while inside that artifact domain, unless of course you're gonna rely on good old weapon and artifact swapping. But personally, she looks like a really nice addition to Electro, not to mention her design is quite amazing by itself, and while the source subject of elemental reactions remains on the table, maybe the whole shtick with Electro for now is just alternative ways to provide support for the team. It's kind of crazy if you think about it. For almost a whole year now, Hydro has been the staple element in many teams, but what's even more amazing is how there's only 4 characters, yet most of them are used by popular Abyss teams, from Xingqiu enabling Hu Tao, to Mona acting as a centerpiece for Morgana Freeze team, while someone like Child together with Xiangling have risen to the top because of their insane duo performance. Honestly, even Barbara has a great use case when you're farming domains and don't want to bring food, as well as helping you clear that annoying pyro hypostasis in the Abyss. So when Kokomi finally got showcased during the livestream, it's not surprising there were some mixed reactions about her, since Hydro Element is kind of premium at this point, and anyone new showing up need to uphold that standard. Now, the thing that threw most people off is that one of her passive talents is working against her, which by itself is something that has never happened before, so hearing that she's going to have a negative 100 critical rate, which essentially makes her critical rate and damage obsolete, well, it's surprising to say the least. And while this might initially make her look bad, there are 2 major caveats we need to consider. First of all, we still don't have a full picture of her kit, nor do we know what exact damage multiplier she will have, and giving her such a weird passive talent only means the designers had to come up with it in order to make her not broken. So it's possible while she won't be able to score critical hits, the damage itself could be good enough. But the other thing that's important is that since critical rate and damage are useless for her, this means the rest of the artifacts that you might sacrifice for experience could become legit equipment for her, especially if she's going to scale with health or defense, which isn't something new, as we already saw with multiple characters including Noelle, Barbara, Albedo. But while they could take advantage of critical stats, Kokomi is all about embracing stats that only scale with her talents, if any. So where does this leave us? Well, the important thing here is that she's still from Hydro, which can help you achieve some of the most strongest reactions in the game, so that by itself is already a selling point, since the scarcity of this element definitely can be felt when trying to build 2 teams for the Abyss. And while the critical rate passive talent is questionable at best for now, she's also going to be one of those characters that will need to be built ignoring traditional stats, which may be a welcome addition for those who are tired of farming artifacts with critical rate and damage. All in all, Kokomi right now feels like a healer from a desirable element with a catch, which in itself sounds interesting already. However, having Raiden Shogun's banner first will probably drain a lot of players' primo gems, but at the same time, those who decide to wish on her banner might end up with someone really special. Everyone knows by this point, Gacha Games' success are driven by their characters, so the majority of us get excited for new ones coming out and favorite ones making a rerun, but you're not always going to have those primogems ready to obtain someone like Raiden Shogun. However, it's important to acknowledge we are getting Aloy for free, and from the way she was described during the 2.1 livestream, in all honesty, sounded pretty amazing. Not only can she boost team's damage, but also throw a cryo grenade that explodes into smaller bomblets that will also decrease the enemy's damage, but more importantly, she will gain a coil stack each time one of the bombs makes contact, and obtaining upon a certain amount, she will go into a rushing ice mode that infuses her normal attacks with cryo. She's basically a mix between Klee, Amber, Yanfei, and Hu Tao, with a huge pinch of cryo on top. Now if that's not enough, it looks like her burst has a massive explosion radius, so it's going to be easy hitting those targets inside crowded places like the Spiral Abyss, and combining all of this together, she comes out as an amazing quick swap damage dealer. Well, at least in theory, since as always, damage multipliers are not going to be revealed until the update arrives. Still, this is a free 5-star character we're talking about, although you could argue she's more of a pseudo 5-star since everyone's going to be able to obtain her, provided they log in at the right time. And even if it might sound like sucking up to MiHoYo, you gotta admit they know how to design their characters in an exciting way, so getting one of them for free, at least from a veteran's perspective, is a welcome addition. Either way, it's going to be interesting to see just how well Aloy is going to integrate into various team comps, but at least from the way she has been showcased during the livestream, she definitely left a strong impression. Look, it's pretty clear miHoYo couldn't be more blunt about this when it comes to the first banner of 2.1, because they're starting off with Raiden Shogun and Kujou Sara together for a very simple reason: to not give you additional 3 weeks to prepare for them. Not to mention, they're also kindly resetting the double Genesis Crystal top-up bonus. And the reality is, it's clear that Raiden Shogun is going to be the star of 2.1 update, which in all honesty, it's not surprising, since she's getting the most screen time, not to mention the whole major plotline revolves around her. However, the reason all of this gets mentioned is because even though this game is more or less single player, some of you might feel the pressure to get her just because of the hype, but let's be honest, this cycle has been happening since the game's launch. There's always that next character that's going to get everyone excited, so make sure to never forget it's you who'll own this character and will be busy raising them, and you can always get your own good opinion before wishing by first checking out the new character in the trial run and then decide before seeking out anyone else's opinion. After all, for a free-to-play player, hitting that guaranteed 5-star pity from wishing takes a lot of time, so always make sure it's someone you'll be happy with personally. Hope you enjoyed the video. There's going to be a lot of testing as well as reviews conducted on the newest 2.1 characters, so make sure to stay up to date with this channel by subscribing to it, and don't forget to also gently press the like button on this video as well. Thanks for watching and see you soon.